Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about a topic that is quite central to the human condition, something that we are essentially all striving towards, whether Muslim, non-Muslim, whatever. Something that we can all do better, the best and the worst of us, right? So today I'm going to talk about a topic called choosing mercy over hate. Mercy over hate. Essentially, um, balancing our egos between the sort of the um, sort of the untamed parts of ourselves and the more enlightened parts of ourselves. How we can be better, more more kind, more compassionate, and how we can how we can achieve a more enlightened spiritual state, not only within ourselves but also within our communities as well. So yeah, basically, I've sort of already half covered this, but I'll say it again. So the position of the human is a balancing act between our egos, essentially, and more enlightened states of being. So um, this is something we can all work on, including myself. Basically, we kind of have like a part of us that wants to essentially put others in sort of a box, and another part that says, how can we extend kindness as well. So I guess what yeah what can we do to improve in this sense? Now I've written down actually the question here, so I don't have the answers as a as a matter of fact. So basically, what can we do to be better? What can we do to have more kindness, more compassion, more empathy, more understanding, more goodness towards our fellow brother? Um, how can we have more mercy? Um, and I have one thing here which kind of gives us a bit of a scope, and that is how can our actions, how can our behavior be more like our prophet, I guess. And if we don't know, then I encourage us to really do a bit of reading, do a bit of research, do a bit of um, prodding into the Sirah, um, and find out how Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, encountered um, situations, and how he behaved towards the companions, and how he behaved towards anyone really. And you'll find, I think he was very good. Um, yeah, so I guess do a bit of thinking up here, and do a bit of actual action, and try to find out for yourself, as well as in an objective sense, what can we do to have more compassion? Um, yeah, and also, yeah, how can we, looking up to our prophet, um, how can we emulate his actions and his character as well? So that's the first couple things. The next thing is sort of a reminder, and I guess yeah, my point is here that as an ummah, um, yeah, how can we be better? Now, I guess for me, it's still quite hard to to find my place. I I still feel like the new guy, essentially, and I guess from an outsider's perspective, it can be very daunting, um, trying to belong to a big community, and I guess we want to see more acts of humanity as much as we can. Um, I I struggle a little bit, but you know, um, I guess we can just hope for things to get better as we go along, right? That's just my thoughts. So um, yeah. Anyway, so I have another point. What was the nation like? What was the Islamic nation like at the time of both Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and at the time of his successors? So if we want to try to make our ummah better and to have better character and better morals, better values, better ideals, how are we going to? What's our reference point, right? So I guess if we want to find out what things were like, I encourage you again, pick up a book, pick up a computer, or um, just be careful where you look online, because a lot of the stuff that you find may be a bit out there. But yeah, pick up a just have a bit of discernment, I guess, when you come to your your um, your sources, as you should. Um, so yeah, I guess how are we gonna yeah, as a reference point of, let's say, the golden age of Islam, or the golden age of humanity, as another way to look at it. How can we make our communities, and how can we make our own lives more like this beautiful time in humanity, right? So yeah, and if we can emulate behaviors of the companions and emulate behaviors of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and yeah, I think we'll find the results of having these ideals to look up to will really rub off on everyone, and on as much as possible, right? So it just takes a bit of um, a want and aspiration to improve, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of good change as well within us. So yeah, now I have another question, and it is: how are we going to get better? What are the actions, behaviors that we need to adopt or maintain in order to have more mercy, more more kindness, compassion, openness, um, things like this? How are we going to be more kind, more embracing as people? And how are we going to become a community that, I suppose, becomes the envy of those who are not uh, Muslims, right? So yeah, For me, I have a few things. First of all is prayer, and this involves making supplications, but it also means keeping up our obligations as a means of purification for our spiritual state, and also as an ideal, steadfastness in things such as truth and in patience and knowledge. So I guess the thing with acquiring knowledge, it makes us so much more compassionate. It really helps us to see past whatever someone's madhab might be, or whatever whoever someone's shack might be. If we can see that there's a greater truth to a lot of things, and that our differences are a lot smaller than our commonalities, that can actually create a lot more peace between ourselves and also within ourselves as well. So that's another thing. And another thing that I have here is a hadith, and this is something that can help us to think, what's the use? Why? If I can be a terrible person and get away with it? I mean, then I'm sure that's human nature, right? But what's the use? Why actually be kind? So this hadith is that when we are kind and merciful, or when we are merciful, rather, to those on earth, then the one in heaven will show mercy to us. So I guess when we think about it, when we want mercy from the most merciful, I guess, if we want to get, if we want to attain the mercy from our Creator, right? The way to one of the avenues to essentially attain this mercy is to be kind towards our fellow brother, or towards anyone, right? And then this essentially is an action that can be very good. So yeah, that's one thing. And the last thing is a question, and I'm actually very open to being told that I'm wrong here, because it's something that I would like to believe that is not true. But when it comes down to the reality of how we get along as Muslims, the question that I have here is, are we essentially behaving with compassion and kindness within ourselves, or are we essentially in a state of jahli? Are we essentially keeping to ourselves and sort of blocking the doors to rahmah in any way? So if anyone has sort of an opinion on whether this is the case, I am open to being told that I'm wrong here. But I guess I want us to think, to contemplate, and to maybe think, is the state of our ummah something that we can be proud of, or is it something that we have sort of regressed and gone back to the way that things were before Prophet Muhammad? So yeah, that's all I have to share for today. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.